In the opening, Clint Barton is showing his little girl toxophilism on his disconnected homestead, while his better half readies an outing lunch for them. Unexpectedly, Clint's girl evaporates and the remainder of Clint's family crumbles, alongside half of all life across the universe. The consequence of Thanos snapping his fingers subsequent to getting every one of the 6 limitlessness stones. Cloud and Tony Obvious are abandoned in space following their loss by Thanos on Titan, yet are gotten back to Earth via Danvers, and rejoined with Natasha Romanoff, Bruce Standard, Steve Rogers, Rocket, Thor, and James Rhodes. The group figures out how to take the Endlessness Stones back from Thanos and use them to switch his activities, yet learn after finding him that he had utilized the stones a second chance to obliterate them, forestalling their further use. He lets the excess Justice fighters know that he did as such to try not to involve the stones for additional detestable purposes. Angered, Thor decapitates Thanos, saying it's what he ought to have done in Wakanda. After 5 years, Scott Lang escapes from the quantum domain to find that his girl Cassie is presently a youngster, and that Trust Van Dyne, alongside half of the populace, has vanished in the snap. Rogers has been driving despondency directing meetings for survivors actually battling with the impacts of the snap, while Romanoff is eagerly overseeing both Earth and the remainder of the universe, with the assistance of Rhodes, Danvers, Okoye, Rocket, and Cloud. Lang goes to Romanoff and Rogers, and makes sense of that while 5 years had passed for them. Just 5 hours had passed for him in the quantum domain, and that time extends much contrastingly there. The three go to Obvious, who is currently bringing up a youngster with pepper pots, and makes sense of their hypothesis that the quantum domain can be utilized to travel once more into the past and take the limitlessness stones before Thanos can gather them. Distinct at first oddballs their proposition with worry about gambling with his family and the harmony he has found, yet subsequent to reflecting upon the deficiency of Peter Parker, chooses to test hypothetical models that would work with Lang's quantum burrow, in the end tracking down one that works. With unmistakable now ready, the leftover Justice fighters set off on a mission to reassemble their group. Bruce Flagg has now embraced the mass as a piece of him, and has merged his own cognizance and the masses together into one. Romanoff, subsequent to hearing reports from Rhodes of a professional killer that works with comparative techniques to Barton, passes on to track down him. Barton, consumed with distress after the deficiency of his family, has been working under the mantle Ronin, while mercilessly slaughtering criminal cartels and groups all over the planet, to attempt to work on the world that is still left. Natasha tracks him down in Japan, and after some persuading, he consents to rejoin the group to attempt to bring his family back. Flagg and Rocket go to the unassuming community of New Asgard, where Valkyrie and the last overcomers of Asgard have settled. They there find Thor, who has become overpowered by culpability over neglecting to kill Thanos in Wakanda. Thor has become overweight, his hair and facial hair are congested, and he invests his free energy eating low-quality food, becoming inebriated, and playing Fortnite with his companions Korg and Meek. Thor hesitantly consents to get back to the Vindicators after some persuading from Rocket and Standard. Subsequent to testing the quantum time machine on Barton, who affirms that it works, the Justice fighters are brought together with an arrangement. Flagg, Rogers, Lang, and Distinct set out to recover the time, psyche, and space stones. During the skirmish of New York in 2012, Flagg goes to the Sanctum Sanctorum, where he is educated by the antiquated one, that requiring some investment stone from her timetable would forestall Stephen abnormal future endeavors to prevent Caecilius from obliterating the laws of nature. Notwithstanding, when Standard tells her that Weird surrendered the time stone enthusiastically to Thanos, she permits Flagg to make them suggest Bizarre had expected for a particular succession of occasions to happen for Thanos to be crushed. Pennant likewise guarantees the stone's revisitation of their legitimate courses of events to forestall any evil impacts. Lang and Obvious endeavor to take the Space Stone after the Vindicator seize it from Loki. Lang gives Obvious's previous self a gentle heart failure by pulling a circuit in his counterfeit heart, while Distinct takes the satchel lodging the Tesseract when no one is looking. Their arrangement is foiled when Distinct drops the satchel after he is inadvertently hit by the mass. Loki then, at that point, takes the Space Stone and uses it to get away from guardianship. Rogers prevails with regards to taking the Brain Stone from secret Hydra specialists, yet finds his previous self, who botches him for a hidden Loki. In the wake of overcoming past Steve, Rogers gets back together with Distinct and Lang, who presently should sort out one more method for getting the Space Stone without running out of the restricted stockpile of PIM particles that permit them to go through the quantum domain. Lang gets back to the present with the Brainstone, while Rogers and Distinct devise an arrangement to take the Space Stone from a U.S. Armed Force establishment during the 1970s, while additionally taking further vials of PIM particles to make the excursion back home. While there, Rogers cites Peggy Carter and Unmistakable has a significant discussion with his dad Howard. Rocket and Thor travel to Asgard to recover the Truth Stone before Malekith utilizes it against the Nine Domains. While in Asgard, Thor is reminded that his mom, Frigga, would kick the bucket soon and gets an opportunity to experience with her, while Rocket takes the Ether, the disintegrated variant of the Truth Stone, from Jane Cultivate. The two revisitation of Earth after Frigga guides Thor and he recovers his mallet, and Mjolnir thrilled to find that he is as yet deserving of it. Cloud and Rhodes travel to Morag to take the Power Stone before Peter Plume does. As Rhodes gets back to the present with the Power Stone, Cloud breaks down and stays on Morag. With two consciousnesses working on Cloud's frameworks, Thanos and Darkthroat find the presence of future Cloud and go to abduct her. Cloud acknowledges what has occurred and attempts to caution the others, yet is past the point of no return. Thanos filters her recollections and finds the Justice Fighters arrangement, and sends the more steadfast past Cloud back to the present as a covert operative. Barton and Romanoff travel to Vormir to recover the Spirit Stone, however are clashed when Red Skull, manager of the stone, informs them that it must be recovered by forfeiting somebody they love. The two battle about which will make the penance, with Romanoff at last accepting any penalty, while a troubled Barton gets back to Earth with the Spirit Stone. After everybody has gotten back to the present on the planet, Obvious, Rocket, and Flag set off on a mission to create a glove to employ the stones, one developed from the equivalent nanotic of Distinct most recent Iron Man suit. Standard workers himself to employ the glove and bring back everybody that vanished in Thanos' snap, thinking that he can endure both the gamma radiation and the colossal aggravation and injury welcomed on by utilizing the stones. He succeeds, however they are very quickly gone after by Thanos, who has been brought to Earth by the fraud Cloud, obliterating the quantum entryway simultaneously. Thanos decreases the Vindicator's central command to rubble, separating the group, and making the glove fall into Barton's insurance. The previous Cloud is killed by her future self, as she endeavors to take the Endlessness Stones from Barton, while Rogers, Thor, and Distinct face Thanos, who concludes he will rather utilize the Boundlessness Stones to obliterate the universe and make one in his vision. The three battle Thanos one-on-one, with Rogers affirming Thor's hypothesis that he deserves employing Mjolnir, however are each dominated by Thanos. Not long after Thanos' military terrains on the planet, Chala shows up before Rogers, alongside the Justice Fighters in general and different partners resuscitated by Pennant, prior to sending off an attack on Thanos and his military. After an extensive fight during which Obvious is brought together with Parker and Plume is brought together with past Gamora, Thanos grapples with various Vindicators for the Limitlessness Stones. At the point when he's limited by Wanda Maximoff's energy, Thanos orders Glaive to have his boat fire various energy impacts, almost destroying the Justice Fighters' endeavors. Skipper Wonder returns, taking out Thanos' boat, while battling for control of the glove, utilizing the nanotic from the new glove. Unmistakable moves the Limitlessness Stones from Thanos' hand to his own, and utilizes them to transform Thanos and his whole armed force into debris, victoriously expressing, "I'm Iron Man." Parker and Potts console Distinct as he passes on from openness to the stone's radiation. Following the fight, the Vindicators hold a memorial service for Distinct, whose imprint I-curve reactor is drifted out on the lake close to his home. Barton and Wanda Maximoff take comfort in the way that Romanoff and Vision, who didn't return in the snap, would be pleased with their triumph over Thanos. Thor makes Valkyrie the sovereign of Asgard, and joins the Watchmen of the World to track down his actual reason, liberated from the weight of eminence and administration, without precedent for his life. In the meantime, Rogers is entrusted to go into the past to return the stones and Thor's sledge to their unique courses of events, however, chooses not to get back to the present, and to rather carry on with the remainder of his life in the past with Carter. He returns before Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes as an elderly person, and passes his safeguard and the mantle of Skipper America on to Wilson. A concise flashback shows Rogers and Carter in a conventional-looking house, at long last sharing the dance they never got to have in their lounge room. Really cheerful finally. That was all from the video. I hope you like it. Subscribe for more content like this.